Hello, dear friends. My name is Sofya Dorinskaya. I am a psychiatrist and the head of the Center for Medical Information. The videos about the thyroid gland, some of them turned out to be so heated that I am receiving a huge number of comments. I read them and want to record another response. There were comments like, I have a nodular goiter, can it be cured? I have autoimmune thyroiditis, can it be cured? And so on and so forth. Today I want to tell you, and together we will trace, so to speak, the logical chain. What is a goiter? What is autoimmune thyroiditis? And how do they develop? Specifically, the body's logical chain. Imagine that the body has a problem and the thyroid gland does not produce the normal amount of hormones that the body needs. The body has a problem. The body can't recognize and give you an automatic instruction like, please add these substances, you're lacking these and these. No, the body has biological mechanisms for compensating for one state or another. Glandular tissue is a very dynamic tissue. And what is the body's response when the level of hormones in the glandular tissue decreases? That's right, it significantly increases the volume of this specific glandular tissue so that this tissue can effectively sustain and maintain the hormone levels, which are absolutely necessary for the optimal functioning of the entire human body. So when we have a deficiency of certain nutrients, the body begins to compensate for the insufficient function of the gland, in this case the thyroid, by increasing the size of the thyroid gland. Let's look further down the chain. All right. For example, a person starts taking nutrients, or for instance, they are given an external hormone, right? And what happens to the person? The person develops hyperthyroidism. Why? In the first case, the gland, with all its enlarged mass, starts producing hormones. There ends up being too much of it. I think that's why doctors are afraid to give iodine, because what are we heading towards? Towards hyperthyroidism. And if a person is given an external hormone, it's very easy to overdose, and that also leads to hyperthyroidism. And then at that point, the body suddenly recognizes and says, oh my God, there is far too much thyroid activity here. This is hyperthyroidism, and we simply do not need that much hormone. So what specific biological mechanism does the human body have to remove this excess tissue and effectively shrink it down? It is actually an autoimmune mechanism. That is to say, the immune system, so to speak, begins to attack and systematically destroys this glandular tissue. And the next stage we see is autoimmune thyroiditis. If the situation develops not according to the scenario where the nutrient deficiency is eliminated, when it's just some kind of treatment, jumping from the frying pan into the fire, and all the factors of the process are not taken into account, then indeed the process can go off track because the immune system can fail in this situation. And so we end up with the thyroid gland being very complicated, and it's unclear how to regulate it. And even here there is confusion and discord, even among doctors. Even doctors themselves, who have their own thyroid problems, don't know what to do about them. And it seems like the situation is unsolvable. Let's finish discussing the situation where a person doesn't undergo treatment, but instead addresses nutrient deficiencies, because these are two fundamentally different actions: treatment and nourishment. When we proactively address and correct various nutrient deficiencies, we provide the human body with all the essential building blocks and vital substances required for its most fundamental functions. This allows nature and the body itself to naturally adjust the internal situation as needed. During this process, we simply and carefully monitor the physiological indicators and health markers. We have a clear understanding of exactly what happens during each specific period of recovery. So right now we are in this period. Okay, what do? We continue, and we wait for the next period. What do? We continue. We simply allow the body to do its job. There is nothing smarter than nature. You can't outsmart nature, but you can understand the process that's happening and allow nature to finish its work, to do its job, to fine-tune the body. The body is actually a very powerful machine, a very powerful machine. So allowing the body to fine-tune its work while wisely providing it with all the resources it needs to sort itself out. Dr. Marina, who wrote me a comment that led to the previous video, Thyroid Gland Answers to Questions, wrote me another response. Thank you very much for engaging in this conversation. I even approved your comment, started writing a reply, but then I clicked something and in short, it got deleted. So here, I'll give you an answer to your comment as much as I remember, and I'll also respond conceptually to a few other people. I've been trying to solve my thyroid problem for 5 years, but I can't, right? So the doctor said that she is not an Eigerschnitzer. And she is also against removing the organ. But she has been trying to restore its function for 5 years now, and she hasn't succeeded. There was also a comment saying, we live on the coast of a warm sea and people here also have thyroid problems. It's not as straightforward as you say. This is a big problem, and for everyone it hangs over them as one huge unsolvable issue. So from this moment on, I urge you to perk up your ears and simply absorb what I'm about to tell you. As you know, we search for publications related to vitaminology. Vitaminology is the official name of the science that studies the effects of vitamins and the vitamins themselves. And we found a book by academician Dorinskaya called Vitamins in Pediatrics. A brief digression. Has anyone among us living in the year 2020 ever heard of Yulia Dombrovskaya? No one has heard of her. No one remembers her at all. It turns out that Yulia Dombrovskaya was an academician and a 2-time recipient of the Lenin-Stalin Prize specifically for her research in the field of vitamins. This publication is from 1948. It is a very serious scientific work, a truly fascinating piece. And now I will read to you what she writes here literally at the beginning of the book on page 12. So here is the answer to why it is not possible to get the thyroid gland to function properly. According to modern views on the functions and properties of the endocrine glands, they are similar to embryonic tissues. The entire endocrine system as a whole is more primitive compared to the highly differentiated cells of the body. Therefore, the endocrine glands require stimulators to make them active. First and foremost, such stimulators are the same highly valuable amino acids. Here's another fiery greeting to all the herbivores out there. This is the answer to the question of why your body is falling apart. However, in recent times, the importance of vitamins as stimulators of the endocrine glands has become increasingly evident. Clinical observations and experiments on animals have established certain specific effects of various vitamins on the hormonal function of individual endocrine glands. In parentheses, vitamin A is genetically and functionally linked to the sex glands, B to the pituitary gland. Please recall, how is the activity of the thyroid gland regulated in our body? By which organ? So B vitamins are associated with the pituitary gland and C with the adrenal gland. But in children, this no longer matters. Thus, the endocrine system serves as a kind of energy reserve that ensures post-embryonic development of the body and maintains its activity after growth and sexual maturation are complete. However, for the physiological state of the endocrine glands, amino acids, fats, and vitamins are necessary, that is, a well-balanced diet. Poor nutritional conditions have a severe impact on the function of the endocrine glands. Dear colleagues, the primary reason you are not succeeding in your current endeavors is simply because you do not have access to this critical data and because right now the situation has become such that the doctor is frequently taking specific things out of their original context, leading to a complete misunderstanding of the overall clinical picture. So he sees a problem with the thyroid gland, he takes the situation out of context, he doesn't assess the overall condition of the body, and he tries to do something with just the tip of the iceberg, when in fact the problem might not be in the thyroid gland at all. This is exactly what we see right before us. This is what is completely obvious to everyone, and this is what has surfaced for us. so to speak. However, it simply doesn't work out in the end, because we are currently solving the entirely wrong problem. Now, speaking to you strictly as a close friend, I really feel the need to tell you this. If you do not fully grasp and understand the complex topic of hypo and avitaminosis, you are simply never going to find the success you want in this field. You will never be able to fix the functioning of the endocrine system as a whole, or of any specific gland in particular, if you aren't thoroughly versed in this topic, what, how, and why. Because a thyroid problem can be secondary, and you could spend your whole life trying to solve a secondary problem and never actually solve it. So, my friends, what can be done? At this stage, there are two solutions. The first is that you study these books and apply the knowledge you gain to yourself. The second is that you come to us for testing and for programs aimed at eliminating vitamin deficiencies. That is exactly why I don't have an answer for all those people who write comments to me asking how much iodine they should take, what else they should take, or which herbs they should drink. My honest answer to that is I simply don't know yet. Because in order for me to create a truly professional and effective solution for you, I first need to carry out a huge number of very detailed professional analytical actions and thoroughly examine every aspect of your unique situation. There is no magical herb, pharmaceutical medicine, or natural mineral that you can simply consume or take into your body and then just expect that all of your health problems will suddenly be fine. No, this is a serious and highly complex physiological problem of the body that must be addressed with a comprehensive, multifaceted approach by identifying and resolving the fundamental root of the issue. And if you have hypo and avitaminosis and they are not recognized and not properly addressed, after all, avitaminosis itself can be primary or secondary. Do you understand? There are hidden pitfalls there as well. So that's exactly why we succeed, because we approach problem solving professionally and we never offer a generic one-size-fits-all solution to the challenges we face. We are dealing with a very particular and unique person, a very particular and unique life, and a very particular and unique situation that individual's physical body currently finds itself in. And with this specific Maria Ivanovna, or I don't know, Ivan Petrovich, Masha, Sasha, Dasha, we look at their case and apply all our knowledge to that particular organism. These are the greatest facts which I have just read to you. These are fantastic facts which I have just read to you. And from this fact, several logical chains can be developed leading to various conclusions. But this fantastic and greatest fact, that is why endocrine glands need stimulators to make them active. First and foremost, such stimulators are the same highly valuable amino acids. However, recently, the importance of vitamins as stimulators of the endocrine glands has become increasingly evident. Thus, the endocrine system is a kind of energy reserve that ensures post-embryonic development of the organism and maintains its activity after the completion of growth and sexual development. But for the physiological state of the endocrine glands, amino acids, fats, and vitamins are necessary. In other words, a complete and balanced diet. Poor nutritional conditions have a severe impact on the function of the endocrine glands. Academician Yulia Dombrovskaya. Now, exactly 62 years after she first finished writing her remarkable book, she is finally ready to reveal to all of us some truly fantastic and deeply hidden information that has never been shared before. This is the greatest knowledge. This is the greatest knowledge. We need to make use of it. Then we will be alive, healthy, happy, and will be able to extend our activity to the fullest until the very end of our days, as allotted by God. This was Sofya Dorinskaya with you. All the best. Goodbye.